also known as Nate, and my pronouns are he, they. I'm a survivor, as we all are in so many different ways, but I stand here today to talk to you about one of the reasons why I'm a survivor. Just over 2 years ago, on the way home from a birthday party, someone tried to take my phone from my hand. Rather than doing the sensible thing and letting them take it, I fought to keep it. Within the space of a few minutes, and with much toing and froing, I managed to save my phone, but had lost a bag that was on my shoulder. Luckily, the only real thing of importance to me that was in the bag was my copy of the Carrie Diaries that I was reading. But no one can take Carrie Bradshaw away from me, and just like that, it was replaced by the following evening. And I was stabbed in the stomach. And as I realised once things had calmed down, I'd been stabbed 2 more times on my right hand. Luckily, none of them were life-threatening, but if the one on my stomach had been just a tiny bit deeper, it would have been a very different story. My one thought during the whole thing was that this wasn't going to define me. I just started a new job that was a dream for me, and life just felt like it was starting to get to a good place. So I tried to carry on as before. Physically, the healing went well. The wound on my stomach and middle knuckle healed quite quickly, but the bigger cut on my hand did take longer. Obviously, it was difficult to do anything in the first few weeks, but with the help of my flatmate, I was able to do the best I could. I wish I could say the same about how I healed mentally. Unfortunately, because I just wanted to get back to normal as soon as possible, I neglected my mental health and the trauma that I needed to work through and process. This led me to massively deteriorate and become a shell of who I was. The thoughts that I had during that time were scary and worse than any thoughts I've ever had. All of this led to that dream job not working out and being given the option to mutually terminate my contract, not even 2 months after starting. I remember the weekend that I had to make the decision, sitting in the nail salon, getting my gels removed, that I'd actually gotten done hours before the attack. It was at this point I realised that the other physical items that made up my identity were still with the police. If I hadn't before, I now really had completely lost who I was. This led me to start crying in the salon, at which point I turned to my best unicorn, Charlotte, who just said, "Maybe this is a change that was always meant to happen." And my God, was she right. I accepted the mutual termination, and the company were amazing. They went above and beyond, especially considering the short time I'd been there. This allowed me to take some time out and focus on me, putting myself first and doing as much healing as I needed to do. I was able to start CBT therapy for post-traumatic personality disorder, and I was paired with an incredible therapist who helped me in more ways than I was expecting, and who I will forever be grateful to. With her help, the sessions allowed me to understand how the attack and the trauma was affecting me, helped me to process it all, and not only did it get me back on track, but a better track than the one I'd been on before. It also boosted my confidence, my self-esteem, and my general well-being. It's crazy the difference that took place during the 6 months of therapy, and the fact that I was able to revisit the location where the attack took place, not only during the day with my therapist, but also at night with Danny, my bestie who is central to my memory of the attack and who represented the moment I felt safe during my reliving of the attack in therapy. Going back there meant so much, and I could ramble on about it for a long time, but the biggest takeaway I got is it's just a location. Yes, a traumatic thing happened to me there, but it doesn't define the location for me. It doesn't mean I have to avoid it because something similar will happen again there. Now, 2 years later, the attack doesn't define me. I often forget about my scars and sometimes double take when I see them in a picture or video. I can watch a stabbing, even in the hand, while my friends scramble for the remote to turn the TV off. I've even managed to turn it into a Halloween costume thanks to a friend somehow combining what happened to me with Gabby from Toy Story 4. If you hadn't guessed it, that makes me Stabby. I know that there are still elements of the trauma that I need to work through, and that will never change. But it hasn't and doesn't stop me from living my life and being my authentic self. Attacks like mine, and worse, are rife at the moment, especially within our community, whether they are homophobic, transphobic, or just a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And this is something that we, the RNDA community, experienced recently when 2 of our own were victims. Thankfully, they are okay and are expected to make a full recovery, but that isn't enough. Attacks like these shouldn't happen, and more needs to be done to tackle knife crime, which is on the rise more than ever. There are a few things that I took from all this happening to me. The phrase, "it will never happen to me," is not true, and I had to learn that the hard way. This doesn't define my life or who I am. Things can and do get better, and sometimes, despite how traumatic something is, these things can be a blessing in disguise. Finally, I wanted to share one of the affirmations that I wrote in my final therapy session, which was one of the biggest takeaways. Even now, I find it difficult to say this about myself to myself, let alone out loud. But if there was ever a time to say it, it's right here, on this stage, with my RNDA family, and in front of all of you. I am strong, I am brave, I am resilient, and I am proud of how far I have come.